You're listening to
The audacity.
Hi.
Hey, welcome back
up?
to The Audacity. I love when the music is so abrupt.
I know. Karen, how you doing?
I'm doing, you know what? I'm doing really good.
Yes.
I'm so excited that it's fall.
Yeah.
It's definitely fall now.
we
did it.
did it.
What's going on with you?
Oh, okay. So I have a story I want to tell, and I want everyone's feedback on this story. So I was in Austin visiting some comedy friends, and I originally had gotten a hotel, and I was going to meet up with some of our guy comedy friends. And I'm sitting at the hotel. I'm hungry. I order a salad at the bar. Okay. And this is important to the story, by the way, me ordering this food. And there is a gentleman sitting at the end of the bar. He's attractive. I mean, he's not like, I'm not like, oh my God, who's that? But he's a cute guy. And I'm eating my salad. And, he strikes up a conversation. And he says, what kind of salad is that? I say, watermelon and goat cheese.
Ooh.
Okay, fair question. It's okay, nice. And he goes, are you going upstairs after you're done with that? I said, yeah. He said, well, can I go with you? And I was like, no.
That took a hard left turn.
That took a hard left. And he goes, this is the funny part. He goes, I'm just lonely. I just want to talk to someone. I'm a businessman. I own my own business. And I immediately start looking down at my phone because I'm like, oh my God, this guy's not getting the hint. And I said, no, I'm like creeped out. He's staying at the end of the bar, like da-da-da. And he's just talking to me, and he's talking about like he's from like New Hampshire or whatever. I take a picture of him. I send it to you.
Right.
I'm like, if anything happens, but it's like a blurry picture. One of my guy friends got me out of the hotel. But yeah, that was my experience. Yeah.
That sounds like, first of all, that's terrifying.
Yeah.
And I feel like for our male listeners, and we love our male listener community,
Literally.
but it's so scary
Yes.
when a guy doesn't take the hint, because even though like a guy might think, like women know obviously all about it, but a guy might think like whatever, it was
Yeah.
like a comment, you don't have to go upstairs with him if you don't want. That's not the point. The point is, if you're not getting the hint while we're sitting at the bar, you're not gonna get it when we walk away from the bar. Like, this is how you do one thing is how you do everything.
Right.
You are setting it up that you don't understand no.
Right.
So that's scary
It
because
was
you're
so
large.
scary. Yes, he was a very tall man, and that's why I stayed at a mutual comedy friend's house, which ended up working out. It was so much fun, but I was just like, oh my God, this guy, I can't stay at this hotel. Like, this guy is creeping me out. Like,
Yeah, of course, for sure. And what he said also is like, it sounds like what a sociopath thinks you're supposed to say to explain that comment away. Like,
Right.
I'm a businessman, irrelevant. I just want to talk to someone. It's not about you.
Yeah.
I feel threatened, like, what's your math?
Right. And
on this
I was
conversation.
a little offended too. I'm like, you looked up, by the way, I was wearing a t-shirt. I was wearing a sweatshirt. So it wasn't what I was wearing. You apologize. Sorry.
R-word apologist.
R-word apologist.
Which, by the way, we love our R-word apologist community.
we love your R-word apologist community.
Apologize for whatever you want, but this wasn't
right.
along that line.
I wasn't even not that it's ever that behavior is never welcomed.
No, and it's never your fault.
But I wasn't even dressed looking like I was.
You weren't looking for a man. Your outfit wasn't like, I'm looking for a man.
Right. I was in a sweatshirt and I think short. You couldn't even see the shorts. I think I was like literally in a sweatshirt.
Also, what about I'm eating a salad says to you, yes, and afterwards I want to be alone with you, man.
Right.
I don't know.
Yes.
Who's in business.
He's just a lonely businessman
Who just wants to talk. By the way, no man's ever invited me anywhere to just talk.
Literally, I think he's like looking for you not to talk. That's
Right.
what he's like.
I think he'd prefer if you didn't talk.
Literally, I mean, because you never heard me talk, sir. So I just very forward. I don't know if that's like Austin culture where people are just more
No way,
forward or like
Jose.
okay, because he's from
Right?
Portsmouth.
I feel like it's not the culture anywhere to do that. In America, like that's not, well, listen, the international community, I love my international
Yeah.
people, but I don't know what you do, where you're from, so let us know. But here, it's not,
Right, you have to do a dance.
it's a little bit of a dance.
Yeah.
And by the way, I feel like it's a dance everywhere.
Yes,
I love my non-dancers. but-
Right. I don't know a lot of women. First of all, what woman do you think there must have been a history where a woman has responded to that? Maybe she's dead. We don't know. She's not, like,
Yeah, I don't know
who
who the outcome.
survives that.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like for people to do a behavior, it must have been successful for
Right.
them in
It's
the
been
past.
reinforced, yeah.
So like I watch this YouTube channel and it's all behavior, like body language experts.
Oh, body language, body.
No, it's called the Behavior Panel.
Oh.
Shout out to the Behavior Panel. You guys are so good. I'm obsessed with my behavior panelists. They're so good, but they're like high level, like work with militaries and governments and
nice,
stuff.
nice.
Like they're
That's
amazing.
awesome.
Right. They're so good. And anyway, one of them says that the organism does what makes it successful, which is a
Right.
very kind of human centipede scientist way of
Pavlov
saying
dogs.
it. But it's true. The organism does what. So it's like for him to do that, that has worked for him in the past where he's been like, what's that salad? Do you want to go upstairs later?
Are you going to go upstairs after the salad?
Right. I'm in business. That was like, he thought that was going to be the home run. It didn't work this time. And maybe he thought you were like 18 years old, like didn't know anything about the world, which I didn't know anything about the world, but I feel like 18-year-olds now who have all the social media like do know about the
And
world.
true crime. In the era of true crime.
Right.
Why would you go up with a man? And listen, I understand women have their prevolitions. They want to get themselves off. They want to have one-night stands.
Love
in
it.
the era of true crime, I will never have a one-night stand. I've had like one in my life, but I will never again have a one-night stand in this true crime era.
Absolutely terrifying. I text my girlfriends my Uber driver's name.
Right.
Like, I don't even want, back in the yellow cab days, I would take a picture of the cab license or
Yes.
whatever in the back. Just not like love my cab driving community, but like
Anything can happen. A woman,
it's insurance. You don't know. You don't know.
you just don't know. You just don't know.
Just in case.
Yes.
I share my location with like 3 friends.
Yes. You never share with me, but we'll talk about that.
Okay, well, I will. I will. 100% I will.
Okay. Thank you. Please. I want to know where you are.
Of course, but you have to share it back.
Oh no, you don't want to see where I am. You're like, why are you in Portsmouth? I thought you didn't like that like businessman. Well, he was
Right.
No, but like
how's that salad?
in this and remember our guy friend? We have a guy friend. We're not going to say his name. He may or may not have made it the theme song of this. But remember when we went to New Orleans? He's like, "Oh, did you girls like hook up with the guy?" It's like, no, babe, because we don't want to die.
It wasn't even on the radar.
No, you would never go back with a guy you met on vacation.
Well, and by the way, if you do, I get that, but that's
The safety. I'm talking about safe, not you being a or not being a. We love our. I'm okay.
But we'll bleep this all out.
Bleep this out,
no, I totally get that. And by the way, if you want to hook up. No judgment from any of us. Obviously, we made this life choice of being comedians, so we're not here to judge you. But it's the math for girls. Most of the time, I know it's a generalization, is different than the math for guys.
Yeah.
Because he was looking at it like, which by the way is kind of endearing, because he was like talking to you like you're a man, which I think is cute when guys do that. It's like, but I'm not at all. And I appreciate that you're kind of putting this man paradigm on me. It's cute. Like I'm one of the guys, I'm your friend, but I'm just, can be your friend. I'm never one of the guys. I'm never looking to just hook up.
Right.
Absent anything, absent like a connection, any history. Honey, I can't even like kiss someone that I'm not borderline completely in love with.
That's how
Like,
we operate. Yeah.
that's how I personally operate. I'm not saying if it's right or wrong. I'm just saying that's how I'm wired. I'm such a slow burn. I have to have known you for like 15
Yeah,
years.
I'm the same way.
Before I can even like have physical contact. And then
Right.
I'm like all
Yes.
in,
Right.
maybe too much in.
Right.
But-
once you let the guard I'm the same way. I have rarely met a guy, even if a guy's hot. I rarely met a guy that I'm like, oh my God, I want to bang him. I'm usually like
right out the gate?
I'm usually like very uncomfortable. Like I have to like get to know your friends, know where you are in your social hierarchy.
What do you do for work? How do you
I have
what's your
to feel
hygiene
safe.
like?
Right, exactly.
What are your friends like?
Even if you're so hot, it is so. I'm gonna say this is so rare that I have this like. I've had sexual chemistry where I do feel like that right away. It's so rare.
Oh, it's rare to the point of, and also that sexual chemistry, while so fun, is so misleading. Like if you go down the rabbit hole of pursuing that guy based on that feeling, that's not the right feeling
That's not sustainable,
to pursue.
right?
It's not.
especially with me. Yeah.
Is that right? And I think with most of us, like, is that going to be your husband, the guy that you right away have this crazy chemistry with? You want to have chemistry with the person you end up with. Is it going to be that crazy? I'm going to say that's its own thing.
Right. You have to manifest
Can I
that.
ask a question? No, it's just like, all right. So
Ask all of them.
Yes.
all right. So there's no part of you that is like looking for a random guy in a random town.
No.
That's just like for like a random thing that like is away from your your
Well, let me say
hometown.
this also. I'm not, first of all, my hometown is New York City. So, like, it's really possible whenever you want. I just don't want. And also, I'm saying this as someone who's not married. I don't know what happens when you get married and you're like locked into a relationship for a really long time. Maybe
Right.
that's when you're like anything but, you know, just whoever.
Anyone but Dave that I'm married to. Anybody.
Right. But I'm not in that situation, and I'm not looking to escape something. I also, as a baseline, like myself, you know, not equally every single day, but like I you know, it's not like I'm not trying to self-destruct. And
Okay,
I
I was
love
just
my
curious.
self-destructors.
But can I say this? I don't. What I'm looking for on vacation is to have a nice conversation with him. Like for me, if I see a hot guy at the bar,
Right.
him coming up to me and talking to me and like doing the dance is all I need.
It's so fun.
And him giving me my number
Yep.
and saying, "Oh, I'm in New York. I'll hit you up."
Right.
I love that. That
Yes.
I love.
Well, because
but
the
I wouldn't
actual-
go back with him
because that becomes it
in
can
this
be-
era of true crime. I would never do that.
and also because
See, if
that
there was
starts
no
to be-
crime, if it was safe,
But that
you're
starts to
still
be.
not interested.
Let me say
No,
this.
no, no.
That starts to be stressful because flirting with someone who you're attracted to in public, where there's other people around, and it's just the
Yeah.
fun part, is so fun.
Yeah.
It's innocent fun. You know what I mean? It's like wholesome
Right,
vacation fun.
right.
But then once you start getting into like nudity, bodily fluids, now it's like. I don't know this person, so I'm like, what do I look like? You know,
Yeah.
like, is this a
Or
weird angle for me?
smell.
Now it becomes more of a chore. I feel like maybe guys don't. Actually, I don't know what runs through a guy's head. Maybe you
Nothing.
guys are also thinking that.
Nothing. Men don't get self-conscious in those situations, right, Andrew?
I'm not like
What?
losing myself.
Are you out of your mind?
but I can't just lose myself in the experience with a new person I don't know. And like now I'm stressing, and now I'm like, oh, where'd I
know.
put my thing? And do I have my key card? And you know what I mean?
No,
Like, what do I look
no.
like after it? Like, forget it. You know,
And
no.
I want to see if he's gonna call too. I like the like.
Literally don't want to be invested.
I've rarely had that like I've met you. I've had one night stands, back in college. Like once in college though. Once.
I feel like it's an experience.
Oh no! I
that
was in
bubbles up.
Florida. I was in Florida. Yes. Okay. But my friend Brittany was there, so I wasn't alone with the guy.
She was there at your one night stand.
In the room?
Well, that's the safest way to do it.
That's the safest way to do it.
I know it's not judgment. I'm just saying, like, did you do it the safe way with a friend in the room?
Yes.
Then
So-
that's perfect.
Okay, I've had 2 one-night stands in my life, and it was because it was during the lockdown, and no one went out, so it was
Almost
just
a
like
threesome.
Nothing counts during lockdown.
'Cause,
Literally,
yes.
we all just were doing so many because we weren't allowed to have experiences, so we were craving new experiences so much.
And because like okay, so like everything was locked down, so I went down to Miami to visit my friend, and I hadn't been out in months. I hadn't been around men. Like I mean, I've been around men, but like I hadn't dressed up and looked pretty and
None
go
of us.
out and meet people
Right.
in months. And when you did, you had to like sit in different. No, it was December. So the summer. No, that summer we had to sit in different tables. So I
Right.
hadn't like gone out and meet men. So I
and
went
in
down
Florida,
to,
they did not.
they
care.
did not
It was
care.
whatever
It
you
was
wanna
like it
do.
didn't exist.
Right.
So I was sitting at the bar, and I was like, I said to my friend, I was like, let's sit next to these guys. And then they started talking to us, and he was really cute, and I ended up hooking up with him.
That's so fun, though, Amanda.
It was so
That's so much
fun.
fun.
It was
and
such
that's
a release.
But it's such a thing that you like do when you're single. It's lockdown, whatever. Like this is such a. That's so appropriate.
Right, exactly. Today, I'd be like, take my number, and you have to call me and take me on a date.
Well, yeah, because it's not lockdown. Like
I
I don't
know.
have this like impulse to connect.
to
You know
go
what I mean?
I just wanted to go nuts because there were so many rules. You know, it's because there were so many rules
Right.
that year.
I hadn't even sat next to a person that I didn't know. I hadn't like had skin to skin contact.
I
Like,
know.
You really go. It's almost punish. It's almost torture.
Right.
Psychologically, it's you can't. You know. I know we were in the world and not locked up. It was locked down.
That's so like deep. It's like the weirdest reason that's like kind of deep. I don't know why.
But it was, you know, when they punish people with solitary confinement, it's because it's so punishing. And that's, I feel like as we were societally, I'm not comparing it to solitary, but I'm just saying that was my closest experience really on like a prolonged basis. And I think
Yes.
all of us to anything like that.
Right. And there were so many rules.
Yeah.
And I had a night where there was just no rules. I'm like, here's a hot guy. Let's go back. Let's make it on the roof. Now let's go back to the room
Oh,
and
honey.
slip it in. We were safe though, by the way.
Of course,
we were
safety first.
safe,
We-
and
you had-
he was young. He was like much younger than me.
But that's so fun. That's so appropriate. You had your pandemic thing. Like I had a pandemic relationship
Okay,
for 6 months with someone that I'd known for a long time. Whatever. We had a lot of fun, and he's a great guy. But it was very pandemic-y, where it was
loved it.
we really, I loved it too. Like where we really connected because there wasn't that. You know what I mean? Where we were like, oh my god, you da da da. We started hanging out. And then that person becomes part of your bubble. So
right, but
I
then
get the one night stand is different,
right? Because I was like, no rules. But then once the world opened up, I was like,
but we broke up. Like it wasn't sustainable
because there's so many options. Like if I went down to Miami with the world open up, I would have never done that. I've been like, there's been a lot of guys, but because like I hadn't like dressed up and like
Right.
looked pretty and like talked like flirted with men in so long,
yeah.
I like missed it, and I was just like, "Oh, this guy's cute." Like, because it's like being in like I said, being in prison. like every guy's hot. So anyway, that was 2 one-night stands in my life. I think that's pretty good.
I think
record. I was safe both times, but
That's great.
and he also like.
But you kind of have to have that experience. I'm not saying everyone has to have that experience. I know some people it's not for them, but I think for your average person, like you kind of
I just wanted to be crazy.
What's it like? You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, what is this person gonna be like? And then, you do it, and then I don't know. I know girls who I know we have to like move on, but like I know girls who love one night stands. Like I was friends with this girl, and I was talking to her. This is what we were talking over the pandemic. We had kind of gotten a little close. And she was like, yeah, I love when it's the first time. Like, I have trouble hooking up with guys after the first time. And I was like, wow, that's like the worst one for me.
I know. I want to
Like-
see how much they like me. I want them to take me out. I want
do
them
too,
to
but
like.
but I'll say this, like, even with boyfriends who like I loved and like we were really connected, the first time wasn't the best time. It could be good.
It is awkward. It is because I don't know what you like. I don't know what you know.
I don't even know you. I've never even seen you
Yeah.
naked. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Like you've never even seen me. I don't know what your bedroom is like. I don't know what your bathroom layout is. Like I don't know what
I
products
don't
you
know,
have.
like your friends. Are they weird?
Do you have clean towels? Like I don't know
yes.
anything. It's
Yeah.
weird. And I've never, and she was like, I've been spending years unpacking that comment from her, because I just like, what does that mean?
Does she a relationship girl, or she likes like the casual thing?
We're not really friends anymore for other reasons.
She might not like deep. I mean, this is no knock, but there might be a reason. Sometimes people act a certain way because they actually don't want deep partnership.
I think she wants connection, and it's like a lot of people like this is what my understanding of her as a person, and she's like lovely, but I think that she wants the connection and has a fear of the intimacy part.
Oh, as we all do.
Super
but that
relatable.
behavior, people that, and this is men and women, by the way. I do find that men and women that are that lead with hook up too soon, lead with sex. They do fear intimacy. That's
Right.
been my personal. I haven't done the studies. Actually, I've read things where they say that. So everyone's different. You DM us. You let us know. Maybe you're the anomaly. Maybe you're like, yeah, I've a bunch of dudes, but I've had a big intimate relationship with all of them. It's hard to get to know someone.
Or if you're just like that's what's like so hot to me. I that's not out of the realm of possibility. Like you could be that person, but I knew this person personally, and I don't think that was.
Sometimes you lead with sex. Because
I don't know
you
that
don't
it
want,
was right. I don't know that it was so hot for her every time. I think that it scratched a certain itch without kind of some of the baggage of when you get into it. Now, for me, it's the opposite. Like I like when you get into it. Like I like to me, hooking up with someone that you really know and like you've been hooking up, where like you're in it. And you're like you love each other, and like I like love being in love. I know what a bold statement, but
some people it isn't, because it's your point. It's like intimacy is scary because it's like, all right, the real me comes out.
Right.
You may not. Okay, he's gonna find out that I'm not. Because when you're on a date with someone, you are a fantasy. You're both a fantasy. You're projecting each other. It's a projection of fantasy on each other.
and you're on your best behavior, and you're looking your best, and you smell your best,
right? And they're projecting a fantasy of you. You guys are projecting onto each other.
You're not even with a real person,
right?
You're
not
with this.
You're with
who
the
they
fantasy,
want you to see.
right? They're projecting, right?
Plus a projection,
Right,
Totally.
exactly. So it's a fantasy, but then you go, okay, so then we're gonna be boyfriend and girlfriend. Okay, he's gonna find out this about me. He's gonna find out like, oh, I don't cook. Oh, I do cook, but like sometimes I order in. Oh, he's gonna find out that like I have this weird cousin. Like all these things that that's not personal. I have a great family, but you never go through that checklist when it gets kind of serious. You go, oh God, but then he's gonna find out this, and he's gonna find out that, then he's gonna find out this. Oh, he's not gonna like that.
I feel like you don't even find that stuff out until
But you don't have that insecurity.
Like, yes, of course. I don't, for me, I'm like, he's going to see like see where I'm insecure, and he's going to, you know what I mean? And like some of my like weird behaviors that I don't think I'm like full of weird behaviors, but I do have some. I do have some for sure.
We all have things that we don't show everybody that we are scared. And that's what fear of intimacy is. It's okay, once you get to know me, you're going to see this, and this, and you're not going to like it. You're going to reject it because other boyfriends have.
Right.
You know? That's that's the real thing.
And not only but also it's something that I don't like about myself. So how could you help but not like it?
Right.
You know?
There's a woman. Okay, so long story short, I was taking this writing class, and this older woman, one of her stories was amazing. She's talking about how like her whole dating career, she always was like fantasy, and then she went on a date with this guy, and in her mind was getting serious. Her fourth date, she goes, okay, but he's gonna find out I don't cook. He's gonna find out that I weigh myself every day. And she goes, you know what? I'm just gonna tell him all these things and be like, listen. So what she did is in the fourth date, she's like, listen, I know this is getting serious. It's our fourth date. You know, I'm just gonna say this. I don't cook. I weigh myself every day. I have a schizophrenic son, and she's like, and he goes, that's fine. My mom was an alcoholic. She never cooked either. and that's the guy she's been with for 30 years. And she said, in hindsight, I should have done that my entire life. I should have been like, no, I'm not going to pretend to be the woman she was always like, I was trying to be the person they wanted me to be. It's so much easier to be like, that's not me. I'm sorry if that doesn't work for you. Let's just end this right here. And she's like,
that's such a secure thing to do.
Right. And she's like she's in her later part of her life. So
I think that's like next level, and I would have done anything in my dating life, like anything in my past dating life, to not have that conversation and to not tell someone that. Like it was, I was like, maybe I'm not that person. Like maybe I'm not weird.
That's also like, you don't know yourself when you're younger either to know that, right?
Right. And at a certain point, like that's just so real, right? Where you're like really living in reality, and like, this is who I like, you know, this is it. This is who I am. And I don't mean this is it, like this isn't good, but yeah, you know,
this is what you're dealing with.
It's not flawless.
It's right. But he was like, oh, that's fine. And she said it ends up being, and she's like, I wish I'd done that. But to your point, sometimes when you're younger, you don't know that you have to like learn that about yourself through relationship, right? Like maybe you go into a marriage going, yeah, I'm going to cook every day. Then you go, no, I don't want to cook every day. I literally, I don't want to do this. I'm not doing it.
Well, also at a certain point in relationships, I think that you find out about yourself that you're not going to not be that person.
Right.
So you might as well just say, even if it is uncomfortable or whatever, like, because it came out every single time. So this isn't going to be different. This is not going to be the relationship where you're suddenly Martha Stewart. You're not.
Right.
So if that's going to be a thing, just say it. You know what I mean?
Right,
it's not a rejection. Like I was watching a thing, someone was like, the best thing someone can do is leave early. And it is. If it's not for us, if
they give you time.
And if it's not for you, then it's not for me. You know what I mean? Like if I'm not for you, then you're not for me. That's one of the basic things. I have to be for you to be in the running of being for me.
Right. Exactly.
So if it's not, then we're not a match.
Right. The CEO of LinkedIn once said, sometimes the kindest thing you could do for someone is fire them. I mean,
a CEO would say that.
But it's sociopath. I okay, let's just take that at like face value. Let's get rid of like, oh, you have a family, you need to pay your bills, this and that. This is not the right position for you.
It's a breakup.
It's a breakup. But you can transcend that to other areas of like, sometimes the nice thing you do is break up with someone. Sometimes the nice thing you do is not answer someone's text. No, literally. Sometimes ghosting is the nicest thing you could do for someone.
I think you're totally right. I think that this hoopla about ghosting, people are like, it's so mean. Like all you have to do is just write. All you have to do is just write what? I don't like you because blah, blah, blah. I actually think that's meaner. And if you're an adult who doesn't get the hint from repeatedly reaching out to someone and they don't text you back, or your texts go through green because they blocked you, then it's you. You're the problem.
Yeah.
Why does anyone owe anybody a text back? Shouldn't you kind of read the room? And if you've tried it a couple times, just be like, okay, they don't want to hear it.
Okay, I'll say a caveat. If you've been dating regularly, you do need to say something. Like if you've been going on,
okay,
if you've been on 3 dates, right? When you go on like 3 dates, ghost, you can ghost. I'm kidding, of course you've been on one date, you can ghost. It's
literally.
But by the way, sometimes the person wasn't that into you either. So like, let's say I go on one date with a guy and I'm like, I really should like tell him. It's like, no, maybe he's like, dude, I didn't like you that much either. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm assuming he liked me so much that I need to be like, hey, a great date, but like honestly, like maybe he's like, yeah, dude, I didn't feel it either. Don't
even worry about it. Like, if I never hear from you,
I'm so sorry. It's like, dude, okay.
No, and there, you know, in this like stage of my dating life, I've realized that in any romantic relationship, I feel like there's two outcomes. There's only two outcomes. Like lots of stuff can happen, but there's only two outcomes. It's either a match or it's not a match.
That's right.
That's
And
it.
let's move on.
Everything else is just noise. Oh, but he didn't text me. Oh, but he hooked up with my sister. Noise. It's not a match. That's all that means.
Yeah.
Persistent, consistent. Someone that you like shows up. Da 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 da. Maybe it's a match.
Right.
You know what I mean? But all that stuff is like the why literally doesn't matter.
I know.
What did he do doesn't really matter.
I agree with you on that, but I also think sometimes you do want like self-reflection of like, I think there can be a little bit of like self-reflection of like, what am I doing on these dates that if there's a pattern of people treating you this way, I'm not saying you're right. It's not the match, but maybe when you're not listening intensively, maybe when you go on these dates, you're not acting like you're that into it, even though like.
No, I agree that it not being a match doesn't mean that it's someone else's fault. You could maybe be better.
Right.
I feel like but we all could be better. You know what I mean? Like there's always room for improvement.
I would want a balance of like self-reflection versus like
totally.
Just not,
But if you're not at the point where you've realized those things and worked on yourself, then it's not a match. You know what I mean? Like it could be, but that's where the why does matter, because maybe you can improve your life by improving yourself. But it still means it wasn't a match. You know what I mean? That's still two outcomes. So I just, I think that lady, it's, if she knew, let me leave her out of this, I don't know her. If I knew when I was younger, I know this is not the world's boldest statement, but if I knew what I knew now, if I just knew that, you know what I mean? I feel like, and maybe it wouldn't, maybe everything would have played out exactly the same way, but I feel like I would have saved, I feel like I would have had my 5th kid by now. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like it would have just fast forwarded this. This is, I don't regret the experiences, nothing like that. I had good experiences, but what a long time to learn these lessons.
But you're more prepared than someone else marrying. I mean, there's pros and cons to marrying.
Right.
But I would think the next relationship, you're gonna come in knowing yourself so much. You're gonna pick a better mate than you would have at 30 or. Well, you are 30, but then you would at like
nice
early in the beginning of the year 30, not later in 2025, 30.
Right. No, when I was 29 and a half, I didn't know anything. Much better now. I've grown so much.
Pre-brat era. You would have like.
Should we watch one TikTok? This was like a very deep Dr. Phil kind of episode.
Let's watch one TikTok and then we can just like whatever.
Right. So, trust me, you guys are not missing anything on TikTok, but we'll just bring you this TikTok.
Okay, how about this? Let's play the number 2 video that says how to know if someone likes you or doesn't like you. This is actually good for dating.
Appropriate.
An exercise you can do is you go up to somebody from an angle where they can't see you coming up to them, and you surprise them. You go, hey Mike, whatever. You turn for that second. Their expression reveals how they really think about you. You'll detect if you can pick up microexpressions, and you can express a kind of, and they smile. You can see the little disdain in their eyes, right? Then the mask comes on. Or you're talking to them, they're looking at you, but their feet are facing in an opposite direction.
Yeah,
that means that they're dying to get away from you. These are signals that you don't necessarily pay attention to. Their posture will tell you everything about their levels of confidence. On and on and on. The fake smile, if you can just master the ability to detect the fake smile, it will go wonders for you. Because what you really want to do is to see the person with a genuine smile, particularly in romantic relationships.
You can tell that guy. You can tell that guy has shocked a lot of women. You can tell he sees up on people all the time. I was gonna say a man would say that, and this is not. We love our men. No shade to you.
We love the men community.
We love the male community, and anyone who identifies as being that. But I would say that it's in my opinion, it's sort of a man thing to say that, because you do not, if you sneak up on a woman, she's fearing for her life. So maybe that's the micro expression that you're seeing, is that she feels like she's about to, that she thinks something horrible is about to happen. Right. And then, by the way, you haven't combed your hair in like 5 years. And that's no shade to this guy. Like, I love people who don't comb their hair.
We love the people who don't comb their hair community.
We love that. But I'm just saying, if that guy snuck up behind me on purpose to be quiet so I wouldn't know he was coming, in order to see if I was in love with him or not.
Not even in love. If they like you, they might even look at
That is the worst way to do it. By the way, you can achieve that effect terrifying
you
someone.
can have a conversation without like scaring the shit out of somebody.
Also, I would say this: if you have that person's number, why don't you like text them from across the room and look at their face when they check their phone?
Oh, yes.
Because if some like even if I can't respond in the moment, like my face will give it away. Like I'll be like happy to see it,
Yes.
or I'll just be like, oh,
or
delete.
a lot of times there is this like little message. It's kind of like a state. It's called SEEN, like SEEN. When you send someone a text,
Your red
you see,
receipts.
and you see SEEN, that usually shows disdain. That's like equivalent. That is the equivalent of someone scaring you and having a disdain look from me.
Just send them a DM, and if they leave you unseen, they were making this expression, or like.
All right, can we do one more clip?
Okay.
No. Okay.
Yes,
This
yes.
is
Oh,
the last. Let's just do the last one, not the first one, because that doesn't. The last one says if narcissists were telling the truth. Let's our last clip. Let's just do it, and we'll end this. I'm just gonna.
I know. I don't want it to end.
Hey, it's great to meet you. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, you too. So I'm a narcissist. Yeah. But you seem so nice. Oh, I'm pretending. Really? Yeah, I figured out if I'm charming and funny and give you lots of attention and affection, then I can get you to fall in love with me. Why do you need me to fall in love with you? Oh, because then you're less likely to leave once I start lying and belittling and gaslighting you and chipping away at your self-worth in order to control and manipulate you. Huh. Yeah, it works especially well if you have a history of trauma where you tend to blame yourself even though you're the one being neglected. That sounds like abuse. Oh, it definitely is. Why would you do that? Oh, I'm deeply insecure. I can see that. Yeah, I have a massively fragile ego and a fear of rejection, so I've created a fantasy world in which I'm the center of the universe and everyone else is inferior. Wow. Yeah. Well, thank you for telling me all this up front before we formed a complicated trauma bond that would have caused me years of misery. Yeah, well, I just want people to know what they're getting into. I mean, you by chance don't struggle with a lack of boundaries and self-esteem issues, do you? I do, actually. Dang it. We probably would have made a great pair. Yeah, I bet. A good thing you showed me these red flags up front so I could protect myself. Well, if there's one thing I am, it's honest and transparent in the beginning.
Enough said.
I love this guy. You know, the guy. You ever see his TikTok? This was an animation of like a guy.
Yeah.
You ever see the guy?
I haven't seen him. No.
He's so good. Yeah, he's so good. He always like me. So I think I
think
remember
I've seen it.
something like that. I remember something like this, but like I feel so attacked. I have literally dated that person, and I had to read about all this stuff on Quora later after the breakup. Attacked, seen.
Right. Well, we talk about this. I think sometimes narcissists and love bombers don't consciously know what they're doing. I don't think it's. Sometimes they do believe that in the moment. The love bombing.
Yes, I think I'm thinking of two specific people. Okay, and I think one. Yes and one no.
Okay.
I feel like one was a kind of they weren't both love bombers.
Narcissist-ish.
They weren't both love bombers. Yeah, well, he had a good heart. Okay, like he does. We're still friends.
sure,
He
yeah.
has a good friends is strong, but like I don't really believe in being friends with exes that hard. There's just one that I still want to be friends with, but that's neither here nor there. He wasn't lying. Like it wasn't a lie. He really gets so caught up. He's like that. Like, and I've known him for a long time, and I know him. I just know him from dating, and he's like that. He means it. It's fun, and it was fun for me too. Like it wasn't abusive. Nobody forced me to do anything. Like I was totally in it. And then there was another guy, this one guy who it was a little bit more like. I don't want to say calculated because like I love my calculating people, but but yeah, there was something about it that was more intentional. I'll say that.
Okay, got it.
And
It's person to person.
And it wasn't that we didn't like we fell in love at some point, like dated, but he was also like he was like that guy. He was like that guy. Not with the honesty, but all that stuff was what he was doing, and it was kind of conscious. I guess that's what I'm saying. Like,
Yes.
he did kind of know what he was doing, and I could see it.
Oh, I know people. I do know people like that. You could
know?
see in their brain. They go, "Yeah, I'm crushing it." Like you could see them say themselves in their brain.
But
like,
he's objectively, he was a very, very attractive and very
Yeah.
charming person. Like, very unusually so, where you're just like, people who are too charming, there are really charming people, love my charmers, but there's also a point where it's like psychopathic.
or it's just like cheesy.
are
It's,
you
it's
trying
like
to- what-
it's like used salesmen, and we love our used salesman community.
We love everything used.
Oh yeah, trust me.
Not everything has to be new.
No. Certified used pre-owned Toyota. That's my jam. But it's that used cars. Some men are just so cheesy charming that they're trying too hard and it does come up disingenuous.
Because it is.
Because it is.
Because it is. And by the way, love disingenuous people, but but I'm just saying, like with one guy, really his heart was in it. Like that's what made it so fun. That's what it was like wholesome kind of, like, was it kind of a love bombing, like really fast, hard and fast kind of thing? Yes, but it was enjoyable because it really was that, you know what I mean?
Right. But
was it sustainable? No, but it was what it was. With the other guy, it really was kind of, I got played. That's how I came away from it feeling. Like with, you know what I mean? With the love bomber, I was like, we had this fun thing and it just wasn't a match. Yeah. But for many reasons, it wasn't a match, and that's okay. The second guy was like, oh, you were like, it was like a kind of a long game.
You kind of like liked it.
I came away from that with a really weird feeling. I was like, who did I just interact with? Do you know what I mean? We're just like, what are you?
Right. There's some guys you talk to, and when they say something, I can see in their brain, they're going, yeah, I'm crushing it.
Right.
And that's such a turnoff. I went on a date with, I went on a date with a guy I met at a bar this past weekend. He's a sales guy. A lot of sales guys, and I love my salesman community, I can just see their heads going, yeah, you're crushing it, dude. Like, you say this to her, I don't mean it, but you just say it to her because that's what you say.
And you say it in this way, and you look at her in this way.
I'm like, I could see it in his eyes. Like, some men, you have to do it really, like, nonchalantly. You have to do it in a certain way.
The guy that I felt like was doing a thing, like doing a performance,
yes, performative,
was in sales, and he was really good at it. Like sometimes, we spent a lot of time together, obviously, and like sometimes during the week, so we'd see each other doing our jobs, and he was really good at it, like freakishly good, where I was like, oh, you're crushing this, and that's crazy.
He knows, and he goes, dude, people are so stupid.
I know.
That's what he's thinking at the end. He's probably like, people are so dumb.
You know what's so funny?
I didn't go home with him, so who's stupid?
Well, I dated mine for 3 years.
Okay.
But you can see a video like that and be like, you know what? Noted, got it, been there, done that. See the warning signs, and still, like,
because you think you're special. You always think it's not happening to you.
Yeah, and you could just be like, oh, but it's not this guy. Like, this guy's really into it, and whatever. Like, I'm not.
Hey, it's great.
Yeah, exactly. I don't feel like I'm not gonna ever make that. You can't get too comfortable. You can't be like, oh, I know. No, you gotta watch out.
That's right. Watch out for yourself. Be cautious.
And if you're gonna hook up with someone, have your friend there in the room with you, just to make sure.
That's why we did that.
I was just going to mention the first guy, the guy in the video was actually the author of the 48 Laws of Power.
Yeah, that's the guy, Robert Greene. That's the first guy with this. Yeah,
Art of Seduction.
Yes, our seduction guy. Yeah, I didn't want to say
that. Guy wrote, but okay, I read both of those.
That's
by the
him.
way, I love the 48 Laws of Power, and
that's who the guy who wrote it,
right? And I vaguely remember the Arsenal. I don't remember it as well, but the 48 Laws of Power was like a game changer for me because I was just like, oh, this really kind of lays out kind of like world thinking in a way that I wasn't aware of. So he's sneaking up on people. I would explain
his TikToks are, I love Robert Greene. Yeah, he wrote The Art of Seduction and 40 Laws. I love him on TikTok. He's so interesting. He also has another TikTok about how you don't have to be, the greatest seducers were actually not that good looking. That's another TikTok.
I believe it 100%. I believe it.
Because they're usually men. But
you know what? The people that I was the most in love with weren't necessarily the hottest people I ever dated. I'll say that. They weren't not hot, but like.
Let me tell you, and I've said this to I beat a dead horse. Okay, sorry, PETA. I don't mean beat a dead. Okay,
we love our horses living.
Yeah, we love a
live horse.
Don't come for us, PETA. Okay.
Only live horses.
People, guys are like, women like men with money. I'm like, if you are you can charm a woman. I'm telling you, you don't have to be attractive.
You don't need money.
You don't have to be successful. If you know how to charm a woman, you'll get any woman you want.
And the thing about game and charming women is that even though you kind of on one level are running game and know what you're doing, on another level you're really in it in the moment and mean what you say. That's when people are like, but I said this to a woman and she didn't like it because you didn't like.
You weren't intuition. You have to have your intuition. You can't just say like
you didn't mean it. Yeah,
you have to read the room. Also, some women like certain things. Some women don't like certain things. So if you are intuitive with women. Usually these men, I found these men have sisters. Every guy I know that's not good looking, doesn't have a great job, but gets a ton of girls, always has a sister. They know how to navigate female energy.
You are so right. Wow, that really
because they can navigate female energy. Anyway, I think we should wrap it up.
Anyway, let's wrap it up. Oh, you know what? This is another fire episode. If you've been with us, if you're a real one and you've been watching this whole time, please send us a DM and be like, I listened to that whole episode and I loved it.
Charm us.
Yeah. And do your best and tell us what you really think. If you are, listening to this, we love and appreciate you. Check out the YouTube if you want to watch our videos with us. It's youtube.com/ @Audacity Comedy. And whenever this is airing, hopefully it's before this date. But if you're around New York City at all, if you're within 50 miles of New York City on October 10th of this year, 2024, at 7 p.m., we have our stand-up show by the same name at The Stand. Go to thestandnyc.com. Look up our show, buy tickets, come DM us and hang out with us and have a drink with us. It's going to be great.
We love you.
See you later.